Good morning all. The sun is far more than just a method for synthesizing vitamin D, just a method for circadian entrainment, i.e. anchoring your circadian rhythm. We are getting more messages about the dangers of the sun. Stay out of the sun, stay inside, stay in the shadows, cover up if you're in the sun, smother yourself in whatever if you go even remotely in the sun for 5 minutes. It's about time that people understood just how important those wavelengths of light are and why obstructing them is actually potentially preventing you from obtaining so many benefits that you simply don't know of at the moment. And I'm not saying that you go out and you be an idiot and you go out and burn yourself. No, I'm not saying that. Of course not. I am saying that we appreciate our body's own tolerance for sun, and we start to understand that, but we also take into consideration the benefits of sunlight. And so staying out of sunlight, staying out of daylight, staying inside or being with clothes on all the time is actually taking away from various health benefits that you are able being in the daylight from being in the sun. And I understand that it's ironic that I'm talking about this from inside, but it's very cloudy out and there were a few spits of rain, so I came in. So anyway, back to this. So we all know about sunlight and vitamin D, and if you are someone that's in the latitude of Drammen, Oslo area, then right now you are able to go outside if you have sun and your body is able to synthesize vitamin D. Super. That by itself is enough of a reason for you to go outside and expose some skin, sensible sun exposure, and start synthesizing vitamin D for those benefits alone. It's also good for you to anchor your circadian rhythm so you can potentially sleep better later on. Again, 2 reasons. Enough, should be enough really. But if you want more, let's look at some other benefits, shall we? If we look at beta endorphin release, we know that sunlight exposure, daylight exposure is good for beta endorphin release. You've probably heard of endorphins, the kind of feel good factor, the relaxation factor that you often get from exercise. Sometimes you get it from cold or heat exposure, but it generally helps with relaxation and helps with pain tolerance because it's a natural opiate. So that is also released with daylight and sunlight exposure. We also have adrenocorticotropic hormone that's released, and that is important for cortisol levels. And if you help control your cortisol levels, which is your primary stress hormone, if you are able to help control your cortisol levels, you are able to help control inflammation, and you're also able to help control certain stress levels. So then we have already pain and relaxation improved. We have inflammatory and stress response potentially improved by daylight. And also, don't forget, if you are able to improve your stress and inflammatory response, that allows your immune system to provide a more regulated and robust defense. Not an over-the-top defense, not an underwhelming defense, but a measured defense. So everyone talked about in the last 2 years about boosting your immune system. Now some people do need to boost their immune system, but most people need to be able to regulate their immune system so that it provides a robust defense against whatever stressor you are fighting, but not go over the top. And so sunlight is able to help with that. We also have something called substance P, which is a awesome name. Just anything that's called substance P sounds like it comes from the movies. But that's a neuropeptide that promotes blood flow. But as well as promoting blood flow, it also helps regulate the immune system again. So you've got 2 things that help regulating the immune system through sun exposure. You've got things that help with relaxation, things that help with pain, things that help with inflammation, all through sun exposure. So you're being told the sun is dangerous, and you should stay out of the sun. And I'm saying, get sensible sun exposure, because it allows your body to promote certain things that are going to make you feel better and allow your body to function at a higher level. And so, so if we go substance P, adrenocorticotropic hormone, beta endorphins, we've also got melanocyte stimulating hormone. Now, you've probably heard of melanin, i.e. the pigment in your skin, and the sunlight and daylight exposure activates the melanocyte stimulating hormone, which not only does it give you the skin color. That skin color is not just so you look kind of good. That skin color is a kind of sun protection factor, as it were. But not only does it do that, and you've probably found this actually, when you've gone out and you spent quite a bit of time in the sun, and then you get home in the evening, you realize, I haven't really eaten anything. And part of that is through that hormone being able to suppress appetite, which is kind of cool if you are thinking about it. But it's also able to help with libido, i.e. sex drive. It's also able to provide, as I say, a kind of a protective factor to your skin's own ability to deal with sunlight. So then we've got melanocyte stimulating hormone, we've got substance P, we've got adrenocorticotropic hormone, and we've got beta endorphins. These are all things that are stimulated, released, improved, enhanced with sunlight exposure. And they're everything from sex hormones, they're everything from improving sex drive, reducing inflammation, improving immune response, blood flow. Talking of blood flow, actually, nitric oxide is another one. And nitric oxide, or nitric oxide release from sunlight and daylight exposure is very, very potent because does it help with some cardiovascular diseases and whatnot, but it's also able to improve sexual function. And so we've got these vast ranges of benefits from being in the sun, from being in daylight exposure, that if you are covered up, if you are staying inside, if you are consistently out of sunlight and daylight, that you are depriving your body of these natural wavelengths of light that create these things inside your body, create these kind of don't create metabolic pathways, but they create the environment for which these positive things inside your body can occur, as well as the vitamin D synthesis and the anchoring of circadian rhythm. And so you understand that actually sunlight and daylight are far more important than most people understand for not just vitamin D synthesis, but a whole host of other things, whether we're talking about immune system, whether immune system response, whether we're talking about inflammatory properties, whether we're talking about sexual health, whether we're talking about pain, whether we're talking about mood. All these things can be positively impacted by sunlight and daylight exposure. So sunlight and daylight exposure is far more than just vitamin D. I hope that made sense, and I hope you appreciate just how important it is. And I hope that means that you will take the opportunity to get outside and have sensible sun exposure for you and your skin tone, your particular environment.